Let's talk about something fundamental. The idea that if you're born in the US, you're an American citizen. For over 150 years, this principle, birthright citizenship, has defined who we are. But as of July 2025, that guarantee is no longer universal. A presidential executive order has thrown the definition of citizenship into chaos, leaving millions of families in fear and uncertainty. Imagine being a parent, unsure if your child will have a country to call their own, all depending on where you live. This isn't an abstract legal debate, it's a real crisis, reshaping American life. The promise of America is now conditional, replaced by a confusing patchwork of rules. So, how did a 150-year-old constitutional guarantee become so fragile? Let's look at the document that started it all. It all began on January 20th, 2025. The air in Washington, D.C. was thick with anticipation as the nation watched a new chapter unfold. On this cold January morning, the world's eyes were fixed on the White House, waiting to see what the next 4 years would bring. In a moment that would reverberate across the country, President Trump signed Executive Order 14160. With a single stroke of his pen, he ended automatic citizenship for children born on U.S. soil to parents who are neither citizens nor green card holders. The signature was bold, but the consequences would be even bolder. This order didn't just change a policy, it created a new reality, a two-tiered system that would divide families and communities in ways unseen for generations. If your parents are U.S. citizens or lawful permanent residents, your path to citizenship remains clear. You're in, your rights protected, your future secure. But for everyone else, even those who have followed every law, paid every tax, and contributed to their communities, their U.S.-born children are suddenly denied the very birthright that defined America for over a century. The administration argues that the 14th Amendment has been misunderstood for decades, insisting that birthright citizenship has become a magnet for illegal immigration. They claim this move is about restoring order and protecting American values, but the backlash was immediate and fierce. Protesters flooded the streets, legal experts rushed to file lawsuits, and critics from all sides called the order a direct assault on the Constitution and the nation's founding ideals. The impact reaches far beyond undocumented immigrants. Students, workers, and tourists, people who came to America legally, seeking opportunity or refuge, now find their children's futures thrown into uncertainty. Suddenly, families who played by the rules are left in limbo, their US-born children facing the terrifying prospect of statelessness. The sense of security they once felt is replaced by fear and confusion. The order didn't just poke the bear, it unleashed chaos. Government offices were overwhelmed, legal hotlines rang non-stop, and the media scrambled to keep up with the unfolding crisis. The implications are staggering. Overnight, the legal and political battles began, with courts across the country bracing for a fight that could reshape the very definition of American citizenship. The question now looms large. Can a president, with a single executive order, decide who gets to be an American? The answer is far from clear, and the stakes could not be higher. For now, in some states and for some families, the answer is yes. The rules have changed, and the effects are rippling out across the nation, touching millions of lives. The fallout is just beginning. As the nation grapples with the consequences, one thing is certain. The debate over who gets to call themselves American has never been more urgent or more personal. At the heart of this crisis is the 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868 in the turbulent aftermath of the Civil War. It was a bold promise, written into the very fabric of the nation, meant to guarantee that the United States would never again deny basic rights to anyone born on its soil. Its words are clear. All persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens. This simple sentence has shaped the lives of millions, defining what it means to be American. For over 150 years, that meant anyone born here was a citizen, confirmed by the Supreme Court in 1898 in a landmark case that set the standard for generations to come. The principle of birthright citizenship became a cornerstone of American identity. But now, Trump's executive order challenges that foundation. It relies on a fringe legal theory, one that claims children of non-citizens aren't truly subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, and therefore shouldn't be granted citizenship at birth. Yet, for decades, legal consensus has held that anyone born here, except for the children of foreign diplomats, is covered by the 14th Amendment. This has been reaffirmed by courts, scholars, and lawmakers alike. The moment the order was signed, a wave of lawsuits crashed into federal courts. States, civil rights groups, and legal advocates argued that no president has the power to rewrite the Constitution with the stroke of a pen. They demanded immediate action from the courts, warning that the order would unleash chaos, uncertainty, and fear for millions of families who have always called America home. The legal world braced for a historic battle, one that would test the very meaning of citizenship and the limits of presidential power. Lawyers, judges, and scholars prepared for arguments that would echo through history. The 14th Amendment's promise, its guarantee of belonging, was suddenly on trial, its future uncertain. Would the courts defend this bedrock principle, or allow it to be redefined by executive action? The nation watched, holding its breath. The fight for the soul of American citizenship had begun, with families, advocates, and communities anxiously awaiting the outcome. The stakes could not be higher, nothing less than who gets to belong, who is protected, and who is recognized as American. And the outcome of this constitutional showdown would shape not just today but generations to come, defining the American story for years ahead. All eyes turned to the Supreme Court, expecting a landmark decision. Instead, the court sidestepped the core issue, ruling that lower courts can't issue nationwide injunctions against the executive order. This means a judge's block only applies locally, not nationwide. President Trump celebrated. Dissenting justices warned this undermines constitutional rights. The result, a fractured legal landscape, where your rights depend on your zip code. The Supreme Court didn't settle the debate, it fractured it. The Department of Justice moved quickly to enforce the order wherever it wasn't blocked. Millions were left scrambling to understand their rights in this new, chaotic reality. Welcome to a patchwork America, where the rights you're born with depend not on who you are, but on where you happen to take your first breath. In this new reality, the simple act of being born on one side of a state line or another can shape your entire future. In states like California and New York, court injunctions have blocked the federal order, meaning children born there to non-citizen parents are still recognized as citizens. Judges and state officials in these places are fighting to uphold the rights promised by the Constitution, creating islands of protection amid a sea of uncertainty, but elsewhere the order is enforced. In states like Texas or Arizona, children can be denied citizenship at birth, their futures thrown into limbo by the stroke of a pen. Families face closed doors at government offices, and the rules seem to change overnight. This creates a bizarre and unsettling system. A child born in Houston might find themselves stateless, while another born in Chicago is granted full citizenship. The difference isn't in the child, but in the zip code on their birth certificate. Hospitals and parents are caught in a web of confusion, unsure what documents to issue, what rules to follow, or even where it's safe to give birth. For many, the joy of welcoming a new child is overshadowed by anxiety and legal uncertainty. Some families are now traveling hundreds of miles, crossing state lines, or even living temporarily in safe states, just to secure the basic right of citizenship for their children. The journey is costly, stressful, and filled with unknowns. The dream of a unified nation under one law is crumbling before our eyes. The very idea that all Americans are equal is being tested in ways not seen for generations. Now a constitutional right has become a geographic lottery. Your birthplace, once a matter of chance, now determines your legal identity and your future. The 14th Amendment's promise of equal protection under the law is under threat, as the meaning of citizenship fractures along state lines. America is no longer one country when it comes to citizenship. The rights you inherit at birth now depend on the map, not the Constitution, a reality that challenges the very core of what it means to be American. The human cost is staggering. An estimated 150,000 children born each year to non-citizen parents now face legal limbo. Many could become stateless, denied citizenship here and possibly in their parents' home countries. These children may lack passports, legal identity, or access to basic services. The psychological toll on families is immense, as they live in constant fear and uncertainty. The order affects not just undocumented immigrants, but also legal residents, students, and skilled workers. Immigrant communities are gripped by anxiety, forced to make agonizing choices about where to give birth or whether to stay in the U.S. Advocates report a surge in panic and confusion. The crisis is not theoretical, it's happening now with real lives at stake. America is creating a new underclass children born here but denied a country. This order has exposed deep divisions in America. Supporters, including President Trump, argue it protects citizenship and deters illegal immigration. They see birthright citizenship as a loophole, not a right. Opponents, civil rights groups, legal scholars, and many Americans call it a betrayal of core values and the Constitution. They warn of creating a permanent underclass and undermining America's identity as a land of opportunity. The debate is fierce, emotional, and goes to the heart of what it means to be American. This isn't just policy, it's a battle for the nation's soul. The Supreme Court's ruling didn't end the fight, it multiplied it. Legal groups are filing lawsuits in every district, aiming to block the order wherever possible. Over 22 state-led cases and new class actions are underway, seeking a definitive ruling on the 14th Amendment. One key case, Barbara v. Trump, directly challenges the order's constitutionality. The legal war will play out for years, with the fate of thousands of children in the balance. The Trump administration will enforce the order wherever it's not blocked. Civil rights lawyers are racing to protect as many as possible. Eventually, the Supreme Court will have to confront the core question, who is an American? We're at a crossroads. A nation where citizenship depends on geography is unstable and unjust. The chaos and suffering caused by this order are real and immediate. Lawsuits may eventually restore the 14th Amendment's promise, but for now, families live in fear. This crisis forces us to ask, what kind of country do we want to be? Is America defined by openness and inclusion, or by exclusion and privilege? The debate over birthright citizenship is about our national character. It's about whether we remain a beacon of hope or close our doors. The question is no longer abstract, it's here, now. Should citizenship by birth be an inalienable right for everyone born here? Your answer will help define America's future. This matters.